Hi everybody, this is Scott Cranmore from 67 Music. Celtic music fans in the Pacific Northwest might recognize the name Jeremy Bauer from the long-lived and popular Celtic rock band Amadon. Some of those same fans might be surprised to learn, however, that Jeremy's career started way before Amadon, and he continues today with one of Portland's newest Celtic bands, Coming Up Threes. He's a veteran of the Celtic music scene here in the Northwest, and he's a Celtic music fan in general. Jeremy Bauer, how are you?
I'm absolutely honored to have you here.
Oh,
thanks
we're
so
glad to
much.
be here. Thanks for sitting down with us.
Oh, my pleasure.
So basically, we want to know, a little bit about how you got started and your career to date and things like that. So when I say you're a veteran of the Celtic music scene, that's how many years are we talking about?
When you say I'm a veteran of the Celtic music scene, I'm like, what? I am. It's pretty funny to hear, but since probably late 80s, so 89, 88, 89. And
It's a long time.
Yeah.
And you didn't start actually in Portland, and you didn't even start in the state of Oregon.
That's right. Yeah, I started in Boise, Idaho. My drum teacher had said this would be a good way for you to branch out, get more experience playing snare drum in the Boise Highlanders. So there I am, strap on a kilt and all the gear, and like, what? This is amazing, and the most beautiful drums that I'd ever played, and absolutely hooked. Bagpipes, drums, that's it.
So is the Boise Highlanders, are they still going today?
Oh yeah.
So you're alumni, or do you ever go back and set in?
I don't know if anyone is there that I would remember. I was at the age actually where I don't know if I would remember anyone that was in it, other than a few photographs that I had sent you that my parents had taken over the 2 seasons that I played with them. But it's all a blur, and I wish I remembered every moment of it.
Mm-hmm.
But no, I'd love to.
Yeah.
Just Facebook, I see their activities constantly. So.
Well, not only how did you get into music, but what attracted you to Celtic music and pipe and drums?
That's a good question. And when you say that, I got full body goosebumps thinking about Celtic music, honestly. And I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
It's one of those sort of unspeakable, you put it on, you hear it on, and instantly I'm happy, cheery, and it's, before you came here for the interview, I have on Pandora station with Lunasa playing, and I just, smiling ear to ear, and I don't know what it is, but
it's just something that's in you. It's a passion.
Yeah.
Yeah. So were you making music before the Boise Highlanders? How did you get involved with it?
Oh yeah. So I learned to play drums when I was in 5th grade. I wanted to play drums before that. My dad had drumsticks laying around the house because he had played drums in high school. So we'd always kind of beat on pillows. Dad, is this the beat? Yep, that's it. And so I took drum lessons. I say we, my brother and I, and then with my mom driving me to drum lessons every day, and the Pinto beating the dashboard to pieces. And it was my drum instructor in middle school that had suggested you should go hook up with these guys and play. So a buddy of mine and I, kind of 8th grade, 9th grade teenagers show up to the Boise Highlanders. Hey, can we play drums with you guys? And they, sure, come on in. And so.
And 2 seasons with them, that probably is like an experience you'll never forget.
Yeah, no, it's crazy. I just can't even. Parades, marching, because I did marching band, so I did marching band in middle school, marching band in high school, but marching band with pipes and drums is a absolutely different thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's not playing on Broadway to get down, you're like this army of pipers who, and drummers. It's just crazy. We played, you end up playing with a bagpipe and drum band for the openings we played for the opening of Boise City Hall, and all these events everywhere. And so now when I think of friends here that play pipes, they play, it seems like 3 to 4 times a day because everyone wants pipes and drums playing at every event around town. So yeah, it was quite the experience.
So after your 2 seasons with the Boise Highlanders, what did you decide to do after that? Was it then that you decided to come to Oregon, or what did we have in between there?
It's a little vague. I wish I remembered. but I did high school marching band, and then I had a music scholarship for marching band in the Boise State Blue Thunder marching band. So I ended up going to college at Boise State, playing 4 years on the drum line there. And what brought me to Oregon was grad school. So I came to grad school, and the first thing I did was feel completely void of music, and didn't know anyone around here. But the one thing I did know is that I'd hear this, like, what is that in the distance, and I could hear the drum line for Oregon State practicing before football seasons and in the fall when I arrived. And so I would just go and latch on and get what I could from listening to that. But still, I had a whistle in my car when I drove over. I didn't play it ever before I came here, and listened to the Chieftains a lot, but that was my outlet when I first came to Oregon.
So how long after you arrived in Oregon did Amadan come about?
So that was, for me, the summer of 2000. And I was, of all things, it was the first summer that I stayed in Oregon, didn't go home to Boise to be a family, and decided I would learn to scuba dive. And so the stories have so much backstory, trying to get to the point.
No.
But I went to learn to scuba dive basically, and I met Eric, who had formed Amadan with Eric Tonsfeld, and he had started Amadan with a couple friends, and around a campfire he had his guitar on this scuba trip, and I ran into the dorms we were staying in, and I'm a drummer, I can beat on something. And so I found some spoons in this drawer. I'd never played spoons or anything before, but figured that I'm a drummer, I can make it work, make it sound. So, and some of our conversations on the way to and from the trip, he said, hey, you should come play with me.
I've seen Amadan live, I'm going to say at least a half dozen times, maybe more, and every single time that I saw the band play, it was always a good time. It was always a good time. It didn't matter if it was in a small pub or if it was at the Kells Festival, and it didn't matter the size of the crowd. It was a fun time. And I gotta think that if you were in the band, those must have been some fun years.
Yeah, they're the most fun years. I mean, you feel like you're getting away with something every time. I mean, it's ridiculous because it's this perfect relationship between the band. We're up there this is incredible that we get away with having so much fun playing music, because we can have that much fun just rehearsing. I mean, because music is that fun to play, and Celtic music is that fun to play. But knowing the people in the crowd are there to be entertained and are enjoying it and love Celtic music as well, and I mean, everyone's out there to have fun, and it's ridiculous. It's great. So much fun.
Now, how many albums did they put out, altogether?
3.
3 albums, yeah. And do you have a favorite of the 3?
Yeah, definitely the second one, Hellbent for Victory. Yeah, that one.
I like that one a lot too. That's a really good album.
That one's it. The first one was great. The learning stuff and learning how to record a little bit, and it's very raw. I listened to that and wow, if it was the second one, Hellbent, I'm like, can I retake? I suck on the whistle. That was horrible. But it is what it is, and it's great.
I saw that Amadan, while they were going, they were basically all over the Pacific Northwest. Yeah. But did you tour out of the Northwest as well?
The furthest, no, not really. We kind of had this, we were all grad students or just finishing undergrads, some of us, and so we had this philosophy of how far can we go in a weekend, or maybe during the week, and get back for school and work and all that stuff. So the furthest we went and played NACA, National Association for Campus Activities, in Reno. Basically this event where all the colleges on the West Coast, so this was NACA West, all the colleges go to shop for acts, and so we played there and showcased and had this response that was, gave us all we cannot do all these shows. So all these colleges then on the West wanted to book us. So the furthest I think we went down south was Sacramento. Furthest we went west was Havre, Montana, east, Havre, Montana. So we kind of stayed in that circle just because we had other commitments and as much as we would have loved to.
But you know, the funny thing about it is, even though generally you stayed in the Pacific Northwest, I talk to people around the world with 67 Music, and there are people all over the world who know Amadan. It's
awesome.
you've actually, the band made quite a name for themselves.
We felt pretty lucky. I mean, we had I don't know if you heard our stuff, we had a full spread in this Celtic magazine came out of Italy. And had our pictures of our band profile, but everything's in Italian, and all
So
we see is
hopefully
something
we're good.
about them being stupid. We can tell that was the word that was in there. And there were some great radio shows like in Germany, France that played us and kept in contact with us all the time, and that was incredible. And then the Hootenanny Power Hour. Like some college show, we were always very happy to the Hootenanny Power Hour seemed very appropriate.
Yeah. Now, if there are people that are watching this right now, if they want to find out a little bit more about Amadan, is there still a website? Is there still music available to listen to?
There's you can listen to all the music on either CD Baby, cdbaby.com/Amadan, or the last 2 albums are on iTunes. There's no website up, though I still own the domain name for it, and there is a Wikipedia page for Amadan that's very sparse.
Okay.
Very not a whole lot of information on there, but I'm always happy to fill in anything or answer any questions about that stuff.
Well, we'll throw up a link at the end of the interview if people are wanting, which I do recommend, because Amadan, I'm a fan of the band. They were a good band.
Thank you.
But all good things do come to an end, and eventually you parted ways, and you actually took some time off from music there between Amadan and what you're doing with Coming Up Threes now. Was that just some private time?
I wouldn't say we had the best end.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say it ended exactly as any picture perfect thing would go, but that's what happens.
It happens, yeah.
And so those years when I was not playing, I didn't want to stop playing, honestly. But definitely the most important thing to me was establishing, family and relationship and career stuff. And for me, though, music is integral in that nonstop, no matter what. And that I knew there was no way I wouldn't stop playing any music. So those few years were absolutely incredible and needed for me. So, and then especially being hungry for music and waiting for essentially this opportunity with Coming Up Threes that was perfect.
So would you say that that time off when you were building these relationships, do you think it refueled you to get back into a band situation?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Although I didn't need much refueling, but I love it so much that being away from it, I guess from the crazy Amadan perspective was really hard, because I felt that's a family, extended family, the guys I play with, and all the I never even liked the word fans. That we had so many friends over the years that we made from playing, that I just miss seeing those faces, miss seeing those personalities. So that was the hardest thing. It was essentially like moving and saying bye to your entire family and this crazy gang. That was hard. But what that space of time did do, and one thing I learned in Amadan, is that we were a Celtic themed band, and I played whistle, but I sure as hell didn't know anything about playing Celtic music with a penny whistle, trad music or anything. So I started hitting sessions, and that's when I've learned so much.
Do you still sit in on an occasional session?
Oh yeah. No, I just did 2 days. I did last Sunday, and again, those of you in the Celtic community that know Tim Cornell, he always feeds me, hey man, you should learn these tunes, and I'm like, oh my gosh, you're right, that's fantastic. And I sat here at my desk in the other room the other day, just doing the like horrible toot toot toot, you know, like learning Mary Had a Little Lamb version of learning a tune, and so grateful for him and for the trad community taking sort of the guy in the rock band, you know, under their wings and embracing it. So
that is a cool thing about the community.
Oh.
You know, you're not just labeled one thing. Everybody's willing to try a little bit of everything. You know, Coming Up Threes is the latest project, the newest project here. How did it get started? What was the initial seed? And the cool thing about it is that there is also additional Amadan alumni in the band.
That is a very cool thing about it. It got started, so Billy Tolner, he came into Amadan, he was a third bass player and always a member of the Amadan family. He was a bartender at Kells, talented musician, went to school for music, plays all the time. But he had played in Amadan after I left, and you know, he was just he wanted to make music more of his life, and Amadan, you know, going through those different just combinations of people, it just seemed a little forced toward the end. And I got a text one day, "Hey Jeremy, want to start a band with me?" And you know, I'm like, oh my gosh, you know, that's what I've been waiting for, because I love Billy, and he's always, you know, positive, happy, I mean, and just stoked on life and to be playing. And so I'm like, yes. And then the first thing I said after that was, you know what we should do is call Naoyuki, because I know he needs some playtime. And so Naoyuki was our fiddle player for Amadan. And you know, just from there, the thing is, as a musician, and you know, in my position when I wasn't playing, you know, you see these people walking around the streets, and I'll see people at St. Patty's, musicians that aren't playing, and like I just feel horrible, because there's such crazy talent there walking around that someone doesn't get to listen to, or they don't get to hear.
Yeah.
And so if we can start a band that all of a sudden, like, yes, we can like pull people in that we know are phenomenal musicians, but also that, you know, need to play and satisfy that need, and also get to play with amazing talent, then let's do it.
Coming Up Threes is also kind of like a Celtic themed band as well. You try different things. There's similarities to Amadan, but there are also differences. What do you think some of the biggest differences are with the new band?
I think, for one, I think Amadan had a little bit more of a little more punk rock undertones, which I actually absolutely loved about Amadan. I think we were finding over the years that we were becoming, we as in Amadan, and maybe I just can speak for myself, a little bit less in the Celtic genre. It was going away from that, and I really love the Celtic genre and the Tweedly and the so, you know, part of it was to make sure that, you know, if we're gonna play at Kells, some of the complaints people have about playing at Kells is that well, there's just a bunch of cover bands of rock songs and it's not really Celtic music, but we want to, you know, make sure that if people come to the Irish pubs or come to hear us, we're going to give them Celtic music, and then after that we're going to make it rock, and after that, you know, so in some sense it almost feels like, I almost describe this because we put together a band and then played a sold-out show with Amadan on St. Patty's Day in 2012. We put together the band in a few months. So you can only do that if you're a cover band, because you haven't written any songs, and it made me think that, you know, a lot of Celtic bands are, I mean, they're cover bands, because you're playing these pub tongs that have been around forever, or reels and jigs and tunes that have been around forever, so it's really neat to be able to throw together a bunch of great musicians and great people and say, oh, we all know these songs, and let's just start throwing them together, see how we play together, and interject our own little tweaks and energy and talents into it, and then start to mold from there. So we're in that phase where we're getting used to each other, each other's playing styles and individual amazing talents, and starting to broach the I've got some ideas, for writing music, but that always stays in the Celtic theme.
So there's you would say there's more of an emphasis on the Celtic music with Coming Up Threes.
Absolutely. I
agree too. I've seen the band play, and I gotta also say that even though you're in the formative stages of the band, you're already well received.
Oh.
And I a lot of people are digging what you're coming up with, and as you move forward now, what's the plans with the band? Are we wanting to record some original material, or?
Yeah, I think definitely. We want to spice up some. I think both. I know now Yuki and I, and even Bill. I mean, everyone. Now that I say that, I was going to list everyone in the band. We love the really high energy reels, and we want people moving, and we want people when they come to a show to have fun, and our sole purpose for playing music is to have fun, an outlet for us as well. So we want to record. We would love to challenge ourselves writing and being able to write for the genre, and without being from Ireland, or without being from Scotland, or without being from some Celtic country, and being able to really relate from some deep down story or heritage that we have. It's tricky, but as far as the instrumentation and the culture and the history, we all absolutely love and respect and embrace. So I think we can work that in. But there are a lot of Celtic albums, and to me, we could record a million tunes, and it's just another album with another version of Whiskey in the Jar or something like that, and we don't want to do that. Again, Coming Up Threes, I'm speaking for all of us. May not be right, but yeah, we want to put something out that's unique, a little different, because there's a lot of it.
I know that everybody watching, they're going to want to know more about Coming Up Threes. What is the website that they can go to hear some music and find out a little more info? Maybe find out where you're going to be next?
Yeah, so right now, comingupthrees.com will take people to our Reverb Nation page. So we haven't quite got to the website part of our lives.
That's how brand new the band is.
Yeah, exactly. I did all the web stuff for Amadon, and the social media resources are pretty phenomenal right now. I'd say most activity we have is on Facebook.com, Coming Up Threes, but people, I want my grandma to see stuff, and she's not on Facebook, so comingupthrees.com just will always forward to whatever our main website is, and Reverb Nation allows us to have our Facebook link, our Twitter link, the SoundCloud files that we have uploaded for people to listen to. So anything and everything is through comingupthrees.com.
Okay, comingupthrees.com. Should we use it as a trivia question, or should we let people know where the name Coming Up Threes comes from? Because every time I hear it, I automatically start singing the song.
Coming Up Threes, boy.
How can you not? It's pretty well known where the name comes from, but yet there's people that have asked me already, where does the name come from?
I know, and the greatest thing is if you go look up what does Coming Up Threes mean, and they're just pages on Google or any search engine, and with everyone having a different answer. Being used in the Pogues, that's kind of I don't know how we latched onto it. I think Billy had suggested Coming Up Threes and all these other names, and something about it just seemed perfect.
It does, actually.
And I always remembered in my English class in high school, we would read the Iliad and all this old literature. All bad things all things just come in threes. All things came in threes. And the Coming Up Threes on the website, you find the most people saying you come up 3 times before you drown. So it's oh, good. Positive. We love that. So
Well,
yeah.
well, don't use anything associated with water for your first album cover then, or that'll only cement that theory.
I always remember the Looney Tunes cartoons. You know, there's always like a 1, like hand 2, 3, and then that's the last.
Before we say goodbye, I just wanted to know, we ask a lot of people this question, being that we're in the Celtic, Northwest Celtic music scene, how do you feel about our scene as compared to like other scenes like in other cities, like, you know, like the biggies or Boston and New York, Philly, and I mean, do you think our scene here in the Northwest is comparable and up to par with other scenes?
Just by asking that question again, I head to toe goosebumps, because I am so proud to be a part of this community. I unfortunately, you know, I went to grad school at Oregon State, moved up to Portland. I haven't been to all these other places to experience what is there, but I do know that Portland is amazing. It wasn't until I stopped playing with Amadon that I got to sort of know the community. Because when you're playing in one band, we played a lot. Like we were in 90 shows a year, all over the place, and you don't go see other bands because you don't have time, and you're always playing. So it wasn't until I stopped and went to sessions and learned where other people were going and playing sessions and other events, and you know, more recently, thankfully, this amazing resource, you guys, to point people in the right direction is phenomenal. And I could go see live Irish music or Celtic music anywhere in Portland on any night. And when I sit in a session, we were at a session Kells this Sunday, she already mentioned. There's a table there that bought us all around to Jameson's, because you can go to any venue, or you can go somewhere in Portland any night of the week and hear session players shredding.
And not just mediocre
No,
musicians
oh no.
either. We've got like some phenomenal talent.
Oh, it's
Here.
ridiculous. Yeah, I mean, yeah, Kevin Burke and you know, Phelan, all these guys that are just, I mean, Johnny, I mean, we are ridiculously lucky
I gotta agree.
to have this. I mean, from the Irish stuff to, you know, I have friends like Tim Burr, which I don't know, people should probably know Tim Burr with his Scottish Highland pipes. I mean, playing around town and all over the world. I mean, there's just some ridiculous talent here that we're so lucky
I agree.
to have. Dance schools. I mean, the culture and the variety is unbelievable.
Well, I certainly appreciate you taking the time to sit down with us.
Thank you
It's
much.
It's been an absolute pleasure. It really has.
Definitely.
And we wish you the best of luck with coming up threes. And we'll have all of the links at the end of this video where you can find out more about coming up threes and Amadon, and we'll see what happens from there. So thanks for tuning in, everybody. And Jeremy, thanks once again to you.
Thanks.
And we'll see you again.
Thanks, everyone.